You may have been told at your age to slow down, to take it easy, to accept that decline is just part of life. But what I'm about to tell you may surprise you, because some of the strongest, most independent people I've ever seen are not in their 40s or 50s. They are 75, 80, even 85. And they're not just surviving, they're living well, driving themselves, remembering everything, moving with confidence. Now here's the part most people miss. It's not genetics, it's not expensive supplements, and it's not luck. It comes down to a few simple things that most people quietly stop doing. And this is where it gets risky, because the moment you stop these habits, your body begins to slow down much faster than it should. But the good news is you can turn that around. I've seen it happen again and again. Let me ask you something. Do you still feel as sharp as you did a few years ago? Or have you noticed small changes? Maybe your energy drops in the afternoon, or you feel just a little less steady on your feet. Nothing dramatic, but enough to make you wonder. You're not imagining it. Research shows that after 75, the body doesn't just age, it becomes more sensitive to what you do every single day, which means small habits now have a much bigger impact than they used to. And here's the surprising part. The people who age the best, the ones who stay independent the longest, they're not doing anything extreme. They're just doing a few things very consistently. Today, I want to share 6 of those habits with you. And as we go through them, I want you to quietly ask yourself, am I still doing this, or have I let it slip? Because one of these might be the exact thing your body is missing right now. Let's start with something that sounds very simple, but don't let that fool you. This one quietly affects your brain, your balance, even your memory. I'm talking about how you drink water. Now, most people think, if I'm not thirsty, I'm fine. But after 75, that's no longer true. Your body actually stops signaling thirst properly, so you can be dehydrated without even realizing it. And this is where it becomes dangerous, because even a small drop in hydration can slow your thinking, affect your balance, and increase your risk of falling. Studies suggest that even mild dehydration can make your brain work harder just to do simple tasks. That's why some people describe it as thinking through fog. But here's the good news. The fix is incredibly simple. The people who stay sharp don't wait until they feel thirsty. They drink water on purpose. First thing in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, they give their body what it lost overnight. Then they keep it steady through the day, small amounts regularly. Not too much at once, just enough to stay consistent. When you do this right, people often notice changes within days. Clearer thinking, better energy, even improved balance. I once spoke with a patient in her early 80s. She told me, I feel like my mind has been cleaned. Nothing else changed, just her hydration. So, before we go further, ask yourself honestly, are you drinking water or are you just remembering it sometimes? Because this small habit might be doing more than you think. And what I'm about to share next is something that becomes even more important as your body gets older. But most people avoid it because they think it's too hard. It's not. And once you understand it, you'll see why it changes everything. Now, let's talk about something many people quietly stop doing, not because they can't, but because they think they shouldn't. And that is moving your body with intention. I'm not talking about heavy exercise or anything complicated, just simple, regular movement. Because here's what research shows. After 75, your muscles don't just get weaker with time. They weaken faster when they are not used. And this is where it gets risky, because muscle loss doesn't just affect strength, It affects your balance, your independence, even your ability to react if you trip. That's how small slips turn into serious falls. But here's the surprising part. You don't need hours of exercise. In fact, the people who stay strongest usually do very simple things every single day. They walk, they stretch, they use their body in small, natural ways. Getting up without using hands, reaching, bending, taking stairs when possible. It may not look impressive, but it works. Studies suggest that even light daily movement can slow muscle loss significantly and even improve coordination. I remember a gentleman, 82 years old. He didn't go to a gym, he didn't follow any program, but every morning he walked around his neighborhood, slowly, steadily, rain or shine. He told me, "I don't walk fast, I just don't stop." And you know what? His balance was better than people 20 years younger. So let me ask you, are you still moving your body every day? Or have you started avoiding it? Because the moment you stop using your muscles, your body starts letting them go. But if you keep them active, even gently, your body holds on to them longer than you think. Now, what I'm about to share next might surprise you even more, because it has nothing to do with your body and everything to do with your mind. And this is where many people unknowingly make a mistake. They believe that memory loss is just part of aging. But research tells a different story. Your brain, even at 80, still wants to work. It still wants to learn. But here's the catch. If you stop challenging it, it starts slowing down. Not suddenly, but gradually. You forget small things, then slightly bigger things. And over time, it feels like your mind is fading. But here's the hopeful part. Studies suggest that the brain can actually form new connections even in later years, as long as you give it a reason to. And the people who stay mentally sharp, they do one thing differently. They stay curious. They read, they ask questions, they try small new things. Nothing overwhelming, just enough to keep the mind awake. Even something as simple as learning a new recipe, trying a new route, or remembering a phone number can stimulate your brain. I once met a woman, 79 years old, who started learning a new language. Not perfectly, not quickly, but consistently. And that's exactly what it does. So pause for a moment. When was the last time you challenged your mind just a little? Not stressed it, just engaged it. Because this small habit might be protecting your memory more than anything else. And what comes next is something even more subtle, but just as powerful. In fact, most people don't realize they stopped doing it until it's already affecting them. Now, this next habit is so subtle, most people don't notice when it disappears. But once it does, everything starts to feel a little heavier. I'm talking about connection, not just being around people, but actually engaging with them. Because here's what happens after 75. Life naturally becomes quieter. Fewer calls, fewer visits, fewer reasons to go out. And at first, it feels normal, even peaceful. But over time, that quiet can turn into something else. And this is where it becomes serious. Because studies show that social isolation doesn't just affect mood. It can impact memory, increase stress, and even affect physical health. In fact, some researchers compare its effect to smoking several cigarettes a day. Now that may sound surprising, but when you think about it, it makes sense. We are not designed to be completely alone. We function better when we feel seen, heard, connected. But here's the good news. This doesn't require a big social life. The people who stay emotionally strong don't necessarily have many friends. They just stay connected. consistently. A short phone call, a quick conversation, even a simple greeting, it all matters. I remember speaking with a man, 84 years old. He had a simple routine. Every morning, he walked to the same small cafe, sat down, and spoke to whoever was there. Nothing deep, just small conversations. But he told me it gives my day a heartbeat. And that's the key. Connection doesn't have to be big, it just has to be regular. So ask yourself, when was the last time you truly connected with someone? Not just passing by, but actually sharing a moment. Because this one habit quietly supports your mind, your mood, and even your longevity. Now, what I'm about to share next is something many people believe they're already doing right, but small mistakes here can slowly drain your energy day after day. And it all comes down to how you eat. Not even what exactly, but how your body processes it at this stage of life. Because after 75, your metabolism changes. Your body becomes less efficient at turning food into energy. And certain foods, especially the ones that are easy and convenient, can actually leave you feeling more tired, not less. This is why some people feel heavy after meals, sluggish in the afternoon, or low on energy for no clear reason. But here's what makes the difference. The people who stay energized eat in a way that supports their body now, not the way they used to eat years ago. They keep things simple, balanced meals, lighter portions, more natural foods, and most importantly, they pay attention to how they feel after eating. Because your body gives you signals, you just have to notice them. I once spoke with a woman, 81 years old, who made one small change. She started eating slightly smaller meals, more evenly spaced. That's it. Within a week, she told me, I don't feel tired after lunch anymore. No special diet, no restrictions, just awareness and adjustment. So let me ask you, after you eat, do you feel nourished or do you feel drained? Because this one habit can quietly shape your entire day. And what comes next might be the most overlooked of all. It doesn't cost anything, it doesn't take effort, but when it's missing, everything else becomes harder. Now, this next habit is so simple, most people underestimate it. In fact, many people sacrifice it without even realizing. I'm talking about sleep. Not just how long you sleep, but the quality of it. Because after 75, your sleep naturally becomes lighter. You wake up more easily. You may have trouble falling back asleep. And over time, you start accepting it as normal. But here's what most people don't realize. Poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It affects your memory, your mood, your balance, even your immune system. And this is where it becomes a quiet cycle. You sleep poorly, so you feel low on energy. You move less, you engage less, and that in turn makes your sleep even worse. But here's the encouraging part. You don't need perfect sleep. You just need better sleep consistently. The people who maintain their energy usually follow a few simple patterns. They go to bed at roughly the same time. They wake up at a consistent hour. They give their body a rhythm, and your body responds to that rhythm more than you think. They also create small habits before sleep. Nothing complicated, just signals that tell the brain it's time to rest. Turning off bright lights, avoiding heavy meals late, keeping the environment calm and quiet. I once spoke with a man, 86 years old, who struggled with sleep for years. He didn't take medication. Instead, he made one small change. Every evening, at the same time, he sat down, turned off the television, and listen to soft music for 20 minutes. That was his signal. Within weeks, his sleep improved. Not perfectly, but enough that he felt like himself again. So let me ask you, do you treat your sleep as something important or something that just happens? Because this one habit quietly supports everything else. And now we come to the final habit, the one that ties everything together, the one that often determines whether someone feels strong and independent or slowly begins to give up control. And it has nothing to do with the body. It starts in the mind. I'm talking about purpose, having a reason to get up in the morning. Now, this may sound simple, but its effect is powerful because the people who continue to thrive at 75, 80, even beyond almost always have something in common. They feel needed. They feel useful. They feel like they still have a place in the world. It doesn't have to be big. It could be caring for a pet, helping a neighbor, tending to a garden, sharing advice, or simply being there for someone. But it gives the day meaning. And when your day has meaning, you move more, you think more, you engage more. Everything connects. I remember a woman, 83 years old, who told me, as long as someone needs me, I stay strong. And there's truth in that, because the moment people feel like they no longer matter, they begin to withdraw. And that's when decline accelerates. So pause for a moment. What gives your day meaning right now? What makes you feel like you're still part of something? Because holding on to that may be one of the most important things you can do. Now, if you step back and look at all of this, you'll notice something important. None of these habits are extreme. They're simple, they're quiet, but together they create strength, clarity, and independence. So instead of trying to change everything at once, just start with one, the one that stood out to you the most, because even a small shift can change how you feel faster than you expect. And that's the part most people never realize until they experience it themselves.